"Your call sign, miss?" the Admiral asked casually, raising a glass to his lips with the confidence of a man who thought he'd seen everything. He was dressed in his pristine white Navy uniform, all medals and bravado, surrounded by saluting officers and a sea of junior cadets. The woman standing before him didn't answer immediately. She looked him in the eye, no smile, no salute, just a piercing stare that made the soldiers around them shift uncomfortably. Then, calmly, with a voice cold enough to crack steel, she replied, "Iron Widow." The glass slipped from his hand. "Before we dive into the story, drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from. We love hearing from you. All right, let's jump in." It hit the table, spilled, and the sound of it seemed to silence the entire courtyard. You could hear boots shift, a cough in the back, but mostly just tension thick enough to cut with a combat knife. The Admiral's face, once cocky and dismissive, went pale. His hand trembled. He opened his mouth as if to say something, but couldn't find the words. Because that name, it wasn't just a call sign, it was a legend. One of the junior officers leaned to another and whispered, "Wait, the Iron Widow." Nobody laughed, no one dared, because that name hadn't been heard in nearly 2 years. Not since the report stopped, not since the missions were sealed, not since she disappeared. Captain Elise Carter, better known as Iron Widow, had been off-grid ever since Operation Dust Eclipse, a covert mission buried so deep in classified ink, most of the military believed she'd died. And if they knew the truth, that might have been easier to stomach than what really happened. It started with a convoy ambush in northern Kandahar. Her unit, 6 men, 1 woman, were lured into a trap. Remote detonation, 2 trucks obliterated, communications cut. Her entire team was killed within minutes. But Elise? She survived. Barely. For 11 days, she operated alone behind enemy lines. No support, no food, no orders. Just survival. By the time the extraction team arrived, what they found wasn't a rescue target. It was a battlefield littered with the bodies of the insurgents responsible. No bullets wasted, no noise, just precision. That mission earned her a call sign, and it wasn't given, it was whispered. Iron Widow. Because they said she mourned her team in silence, and then became death itself. And now she was standing in front of an admiral who just mocked her without realizing the storm he'd stepped into. The admiral stood slowly. I wasn't informed. You're here under orders." His voice cracked slightly. He was no coward, but even the bravest man knows when he's outmatched. Not by brute strength, but by legacy. "I'm here to observe," she replied, "train, advise, and correct what needs correcting." The tone wasn't disrespectful, it was direct, the kind that didn't need volume to demand authority. One of the younger cadets stepped forward, eyes wide with admiration. "Ma'am, is it true? You took out a whole compound with nothing but—" He trailed off, unsure if he was crossing a line, but Elise turned, softened. "It's true that fear makes people dangerous, but it's discipline that makes them unstoppable." That line became legend within hours. Over the next 2 weeks, Elise Carter dismantled every assumption the SEAL base had about strength, leadership, and what it means to survive. She didn't scream, she didn't lecture, she demonstrated. She outperformed seasoned instructors on the obstacle course. She disarmed 4 men in under 30 seconds during a live sparring demo. She taught a technique using only a belt and a sock that could disable an attacker twice your size. And she made even the cockiest soldiers pay attention. But what stunned everyone most was her silence. She never boasted, never mentioned the past. She wasn't there to be honored. She was there to serve. And the effect was magnetic. Still, not everyone welcomed her. One evening, during a strategy debriefing, a visiting general from HQ scoffed at her inclusion. "She may be tough," he said, loud enough for the room to hear, "but war isn't a movie. We need men who can lead teams, not lone wolves chasing ghosts." The room went still. Elise stood up slowly, walked to the whiteboard. Without saying a word, she erased the general's troop movement diagram and redrew the entire operation. Her version, smaller team, fewer casualties, tighter extraction time, She then walked to the digital monitor, opened classified footage no one else had access to, and played a black and white clip. It showed her, injured, dragging a wounded ally across rocky terrain while enemy fire rained down around her. She got him to safety, alone. When the footage ended, she looked the general in the eye and said, "I never chased ghosts, sir. I made sure others didn't become one." That general didn't say another word. The room erupted in applause after he left. Even the admiral who'd once mocked her began walking beside her during morning drills. He asked questions. She answered them. She never brought up the spilled glass, never held a grudge, because Elise Carter had no time for ego, only purpose. Eventually, the cadets began calling her ma'am, not out of rank, but out of respect. Her presence rewired the base. Less shouting, more thinking, less fear, more precision. She had become what the military didn't know it needed, a ghost-turned-guide, a warrior-turned-teacher. Not because she fought harder, but because she rose quieter. Sometimes, the strongest presence in the room doesn't come from the loudest voice, but from the one who's already walked through hell and came back to light the way for others. Everyone sees things differently. Tell me how this story felt to you and what you would do if you were in their place. If this story touched you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and share your thoughts in the comments below.